everyone, welcome to Born Truth Prophecies podcast. My name is Tiffany. This podcast will be centered around how our physical lives ties into our spiritual lives, as we all know everything happens there first, Ephesians 1-4, and I'll also be shedding light on how evil spiritual beings play a part. But before we get into the episode, let's say the Lord's Prayer. You can find it in Matthew 6:9-13 and Luke 11:2-4. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So today's episode is about being spiritually sensitive and how to transmute. I'm not sure if you guys are aware that you're able to do that if you're spiritually sensitive, but you are. So how do you recognize if you're a spiritually sensitive being? Is you're able to feel much more than other people. So you're able to pick up on the atmosphere. If it's a good atmosphere or bad atmosphere, if there's a good person or a bad person, you're able to know that, and that person doesn't even have to say a word. It's more intensified once they start speaking, once they start moving around because of body language. So it's like you're able to pick up on things regular people won't pick up on, especially in the first meeting. You're able to pick up on things people can't. It would take individuals longer to know what you know within minutes. Spirits are energy. Once you're aware that this feeling that you're feeling, this thought that you're having is outside of you, then you know it's not coming from you. So when you're a spiritually sensitive, gifted person, you can say an empath, a prophetic person, which that's the same thing. People just don't know that. Then you have to put certain measures in place. Once you're aware of this, there's certain measures that you have to put in place in order to protect yourself. Because without protection, anything can attack you. Anything can penetrate. Anything can bombard you. There's no blockage. There's no shield. There's no wall up. Everything is just coming at you. And this is how it was for me in the world. And I could go into certain places, would just wear me like a coat, you can say. It would just be so weighed down and depressing. When your spiritual defense is up, your physical defense is up, if that makes sense. So once you have the spiritual under control, your physical will be under control. When your spiritual life is a mess, your physical life is a mess. It goes hand in hand. There's nothing, your spiritual life is a mess, your physical is okay. Definitely not. When your spiritual life is a mess, your physical life is a mess. Your physical life now can be a mess, and your spiritual life could be transforming. And then the manifestation didn't happen yet. It all depends on the stage. So things can be taking place in that's going to happen. That's in the spirit. That's going to change your atmosphere to good or bad. This is why you always have to make sure you keep your eyes in the spirit, because that's where everything is coming from. The spiritual realm. The spiritually sensitive person with the ability to feel now is a person that is aware of their emotions and the emotions of others. So some people are not aware of that we're able to pick up on their emotions, but we are. And this is the thing. If you're not careful, their emotions can now become your emotions. And this is why when you're spiritually sensitive, whether you say empath or prophetic person, you can't just be around everybody. You have to be led by the Lord. Like, yeah, sometimes you just bump into random people or speak to random people, but you still need to be aware on your emotions and the person's emotions. If someone has a negative emotion towards you, you'll be able to pick up on that even though they're smiling. Your discernment is on another level. So because of that, then you'll know that this is not a person that you need to really interact with anymore, or as frequent as you were before, if that makes sense. So when your spirit now, when you're paying attention to how you feel in your spirit feels wronged, you feel uneasy, you feel like something is trying to oppress you, you feel like there's something trying to come and attack you. This is what you'll feel when that person their intentions are wrong towards you. When a person doesn't have good intention towards you, this person will betray you. You're just picking up on it before it even manifests. So you have to take that in account. You take it into prayer and then you do what you need to do. But this is when you're paying attention to how you feel. So when you're a feeler, there's nothing that can get by you at all. What you have to know about being a feeler, a seer, these are gifts to help individuals. So sometimes you're called to help individuals with these emotions because you are able to transmute the emotions. But some people are just walking gifted but don't know that they're gifted, or don't know even how to use their gift. So when you're spiritually sensitive, you're spiritually sensitive to help humanity. So some people don't know the Lord because that's the first step. But also, this is when they say you're the light of the world. You're the light of the world, right? So you can turn darkness into light. You have the ability to do that because of who you are and who you're connected to. And so because you're connected to the source, which is the Most High, right? Which is our Lord and Savior. Because you're connected to Him, this is why you're able to stay in a peaceful place. But some individuals don't know the Lord, and they're under torment. They're under anxiety, depression, everything that brings their spirit down. So what you would do, and then when you do connect with these people, this is why you have to be led by the Lord, because even if your spirit is crossed with a certain individual, it's not towards you. They're just oppressed. So once you stay in their presence long enough, this is when people, they see shrinks or life coaches, these people could be actually called, and they're walking in their calling. Because if you didn't know, when I was in college and I was taking psychology, our professor told us even shrinks have shrinks. They need someone to talk to after talking to other people. But this is the same thing that happens spiritually with the Lord, if that makes sense. That's a physical concept of having to see someone after seeing someone else. So after seeing them, we would go to the Lord. What we would do is lay whatever it is that we feel at the Lord's feet. Because now after you leave that person, whether you counsel them, you mentor them, you talk with them, whatever they were feeling, they don't feel that anymore. That's why they can't wait to talk to you. You make them, oh, I just love to be around you. I love when you come around. Oh, you just make me feel so good. I was feeling down until you came. This is indications that when you come around, whatever is around them can't stay. But then also when it's more probably a stronghold or something, that's when you'll feel heavy after leaving their presence. And then you will go in the presence of the Lord. You would go into the presence of the Lord, and then you would pray against it, because you might not know exactly what it is. You just know it's there with you now. Pray against it. You would plead the precious blood of the Lord over your mind, body, spirit, and soul. And then you would bind whatever it is, and you would lose the power from heaven to uproot whatever it is that you feel, to destroy it physically and spiritually, from the crown of your head, from the sole of your feet, that the Lord will remove all evil entities from around you. You would bind yourself to His will. You would rebuke whatever it is. And that's when you give it a few minutes, and then whatever it is that you feel will leave. You can transmute certain things in that given time. And then sometimes you have to go to the Lord, because you are gifted. You have to go to the Lord, and the Lord has to intervene, because whatever it is stronger than you. Caring, compassionate, and warm. So these are the traits of a feeler, a person that's highly intuitive as well. So you know when someone's lying to you, you know when someone has good intention. Sometimes you give people the benefit of the doubt because you're not sure, because of what I just said too, regarding the evil that you may feel. It might not be towards you, but that's the evil that's affecting that person. And you're called to help that person by transmuting that energy, you can say. When you're aware of this, the Lord has revealed certain things to you, you'll know how to filter out the good and bad people as opposed to good and bad spirits, if that makes sense. What people have to understand when they're empaths, prophetic people, is you're open to the spiritual realm 24/7. And this is why you're able to be weighed down by these evil demonic forces, because you're open to the spiritual realm all day. This is not an on and off kind of thing, because you're able to hear the Lord and see the signs of the Lord 24/7. When you're prophetic, you're a prophet, you're a seer, you're a feeler, the Lord needs you to know what's going on every minute of the day, if that makes sense. He needs to be able to communicate with you any given time. And this is the people that don't put the Lord in a box. And this is why the people that don't put the Lord in a box can hear the Lord, see the Lord within everything. This is why you constantly, you pray. You pray when you're walking down the street, or you pray before you leave your home. You wake up and you pray. You go into the presence of the Lord for guidance. You give the Lord your day. Make sure that you set a productive day over your life. You combat any evil that happened in the witching hours. You would take your life seriously, because when you're gifted, you're being attacked, whether you know it or not. So this is something that you have to be aware of. So when you are a feeler, a seer, a prophet, a highly intuitive person, highly sensitive person, because you're able to destroy evil entities, this is why you're being attacked. So that means when you are aware of this, you have to know how to filter out these emotions, feelings, thoughts, and change them from a negative to a positive, because you have the power to do that. So once you're aware of that, then you'll know then you'll be able to maneuver around life more freely. There's some people that just lock themselves in their house. They don't want to be around people and things of that nature because it's very overwhelming, because they haven't gotten a handle on what's really going on. They just know that they feel more than others. So when you come into an atmosphere, you're able to actually change it, whether it's, you could say, a party, a function, a gala, a conference, a work meeting. When you get there, everything changes. Why do you think that happens when you just walk into the room? It doesn't go to a negative. It always goes, you always shift it to a positive. That's not by accident. You always shift it to the positive. Is your presence in itself. You can be rushing, you could be late. And then when you get there, everyone like, oh, okay, I'm glad you got here, or where were you? Or it just starts shifting. There's some people that hate your guts when you get there because they want to be able to control the atmosphere with evil. When you get there, they can't do that. So this is why you become a threat to people that are in darkness. This is why and that's if you stick around long enough. Some of us, we're like, this is not for me. I'm out of here. But then also always be led. Sometimes you're meant to stay to change these atmospheres. So what you would do is you would speak it out. If it's really negative and it's evil and you have to stay around, you would take authority over it. You need the Lord to intervene, but you need to speak this, if that makes sense. You would take control of the atmosphere in that way. Sometimes you could automatically change it, but then sometimes you can't. So that's when you would have to speak these things out. You could speak it under your breath, or you could just walk away. You can go to the restroom. You would just take the next step to change this stuff. It says here, transmuting energy is a gradual process that can involve changing negative energy into positive energy. It can also refer to the idea that energy is constantly changing and evolving, moving from one form to another. So I'm going to read 2 Corinthians 10:5. Casting down imaginations and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to obedience of the Lord. This is where when you're having intrusive thoughts and feelings, so you would cast these things down, anything that exalts itself over the knowledge of the Lord. This is when you would take it into captivity as well. So if you know the word of the Lord, then you'll know that you have the power to wrangle anything that is trying to wrangle you in. Then you'll take the authority and power over it. I said it earlier, but I didn't speak the scripture. So what people need to understand regarding the armor of God, like, this is not a physical armor, but spiritually you are armored up. So this is what you have to implement physically, yes, but that's why I say I take the sword of the spirit and I cut the head off of any evil demonic snake coming at me, right? The Lord showed me in a dream, I took a scissors and cut the head off of a snake. So it's like, if once you know the Lord and you know the play on his words, then you'll see how he actually communicates with you spiritually as well as physically. But the spiritual realm is a different ball game. So his word is spirit. So his word turns into spirit. So when we say suited with the whole armor of God, you actually are suited with armor on spiritually. In a dream, the teacher had a bullet lodged in a helmet. So if he didn't have his helmet of salvation on, then that bullet would have lodged in his brain, you can say. So what spiritually sensitive empath people need to remember is there's toxic spiritual people out there. So there's people just as spiritual as you, but they're more toxic with it, if that makes sense. So these are the people that will wound you on purpose. Words are powerful. So these are people that will say words to you on purpose to wound you. And when you're spiritually sensitive, they know that. So it's going to hurt you. And this is why you have to be aware of this stuff, because these are the people that you stay away from. They know how spiritual you are because they can see that, they can feel that. So this is why they want to wound you, because once they're able to wound you, they can either trauma bond with you or drain you. So you have to be aware of what these people are trying to do. When you're a spiritually sensitive person, you have to find a happy medium at all times, because you can either be overwhelmed or underwhelmed depending on your environment and what's going on around you. You have to maintain a balance. That's your key. Every day you wake up, you have to maintain your balance, because being spiritually sensitive, you can tip. You know what I mean? You can definitely tip. So you have to be careful with that. And this is when you would see people go into a shell, go into hiding, because they're wounded. So they're trying to heal. Yeah, there's some people that will create a problem with you when they do know that you're gifted and they're actually gifted as well. more toxic and they know that you're pure hearted and gifted, they will create a problem with you, to have a problem with you, to manipulate your emotions. This is the thing. So you have to be aware when people are deliberately trying to manipulate your emotions. It can be male or female. It could be a guy that's interested in you and he's gifted but toxic. This is why you have to allow the Lord to lead you regarding people. Toxic people, when they're evil and spiritually aware, they're aware on what you possess, you can say. They want to drain you. They want to drain you of your light and essence. This is when they will come as false friends. They will come as having false problems. And they know that that connection with them will open you up. This is why you have to be led. I mentioned that you have to be led. You're not supposed to take on or communicate or pray for just anybody. Be led at all times. If you get an inkling about something, someone, someplace that's not good, just turn away from whatever it is. Don't go any further. Just stop, halt, halt, rethink. Don't make any quick moves. Just halt and analyze what's going on. Why are you feeling these feelings? Why are you getting this alert from the Lord? What's going on? Don't go any further, and make sure you are now you figure out what the Lord is trying to tell you with that in that moment and regarding that person before you go any further. What you have to understand about that, when you are a highly sensitive person, when you're a prophetic empath person, low level people are operating out of a low level state, you can say. So you are automatic trigger for that person. So you can be rejected automatically from people that you want to, that you like or whatever, but it's not you, it's who you are and what who they are and you are. It's like oil and water. So you guys do not mix spiritually and physically. So sometimes we would take it as them rejecting us, them not liking us, there's something wrong with us, when there's nothing wrong with you. It's just spiritually this person chooses to operate out of that. There's some people that don't choose this and they have this oppression here, and these are the people the Lord will call you to help, whether it's counseling, mentoring, praying, interceding, deliverance, friendship, relationship. You're meant to be in their life because you're going to shift them. But then there's some people that they don't want to shift. They love being in the pigsty here. You're coming in all shiny and clean. This is a problem for them. Who do you think you are? I need you to look as dirty as me. You know what I mean? So this is what you have to realize regarding these people. Sometimes you're just going to automatically be a trigger for these people, but that's not your problem. And don't take that in as there's something wrong with you. You guys are just opposites. 9 times out of 10, these are not the people that you're called to help. These are just the people that are here to cause havoc, cause mischief, cause problems with an individual like us. You have to become a master at analyzing. You have to become a master at analyzing. If you aren't now, you have to make sure this is your mission here. And to be a really great analyzer is to study something closely and carefully. This is just second nature for me, and I believe it needs to be second nature for you. If you just think everyone is just showing you their true face when they're speaking to you, think again. Everyone's wearing a mask, especially in the beginning. So definitely take your time, pay attention to every aspect of the person, what they say, what they write, what they do, how they act. Pay attention. You always pay attention to everyone that's around you. Pay attention, because nothing will be able to slip by you when you're alert. Yeah, and this is when toxic spiritual people or just toxic people in general want to get you to operate out of your flesh. They want you to detach from the spirit, because once you detach from the spirit and operate out of your flesh, then once they got you in your flesh, you're no longer operating in your spiritual gifts. See, this is the trick of it all. Remember, this is crafty people operating out of the spirit of the enemy. So once you're operating in your flesh, you're no longer operating in your spiritual gifts. If you're not operating in your spiritual gifts, you're not able to see the things that's coming at you, if that makes sense. What the traps are. Never allow people to get you in your flesh in that way. If you start getting in your flesh, because we are human, you have to know how to still stay in bounds. Don't cross certain lines with certain people. Just get rid of them or get yourself out of whatever situation that is quickly. So in order to transmute, you would acknowledge whatever it is that's going on at the moment, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're thinking. Paying attention to you is first and foremost, because you're the gifted person here. So whatever it is that you're picking up on, this is what you need to focus on. So just imagine 100 people in the room that's connected to a demonic entity, and you're the only, you just came in this atmosphere and you're not connected. The focus is on you. And this is why you will feel so heavy. You pray for your discernment to be heightened regarding every situation, but never ignore that. Never ignore that. You have to know who's for you and who's not for you, because the quicker you can get people that is not for you away from you, the better off your life will be. Transmuting is not allowing what wants to affect you. So that feeling is temporary. So if you don't flee from the situation or flee from the person, and you just give it a minute and use your tongue to cancel it, you will see the difference. It will go. It will go back to where it came from. If the demonic or whatever it is that you feel came from somewhere else, and and it wasn't like in an atmosphere, and it was actually projected at you, then once you take authority over it, once you cancel it, once you rebuke it, bind it, it will go back to the person that sent it. It will go right back to the person that sent it, because all your doors will be closed. I'm going to read 2 Corinthians 4:18. While we look not on the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen is temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So this is regarding the things that you don't see. So being spiritually sensitive, you have to be intentional in everything you do or don't do. So when you are a target and they're trying to manipulate your emotions and manipulate you into feeding into whatever they've created, which will feed them, that entity in them, that negative energy around them, then pretty much they've won. You will be aware on who created it, because it's going to be something that has happened, something that they've done. But this is all orchestrated. So this is what you'll do. You assess the situation, then you'll have to be reactive instead of proactive. So before it gets to that point, and this person is trying to create negativity within you, because that's when they'll be able to pull the strings and control you. That's the whole goal. So when you're spiritually aware, you're able to see the forest from the trees and see what people are trying to do before they even do it. You'll still be at the level that you started without stooping to their level. All right, guys, that's the end of the episode. I pray you found something I said today helpful. Don't forget to take a look at the description box. All my links are below. The first link is to the targeted community, which is for targeted individuals, believers, chosen ones, the spiritually gifted, and those that are set apart. I hope to see you guys in there. I love you guys. See you guys every other Friday at 8 p.m. I'll be setting up premiere, so don't forget to click notify me so you won't miss it. Until next time, have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.